everyone. In this module 3 of Principles and Practices of Management, we would be studying evolution of management, development of management thoughts. The first part would be covered in module 3, that is early classical theories, which is divided into or given by Taylor's scientific management theory, Fayol's administrative theory, and Weber's bureaucracy theory. So, evolution of management theories. The driving force behind the evolution of management theory is the search for better way to utilize organizational resources. Development of management thoughts. Management thoughts refers to the theories that guide management of people in the organizations. Initially, these theories developed out of practical experiences of managers in the industrial enterprises. Later on, they borrowed ideas from other fields of studies like science, anthropology, sociology, etc. The evolution of management theory is divided into three parts, that is the classical theory of management, the neoclassical theory of management, and the modern theory of management. In this video or module, we would be studying the classical theory of management, which is divided into two, that is the scientific management theory, the bureaucratic management theory, and the administrative management theory. Neoclassical is divided into human relations, behavioral science approach, and the modern management theory is divided into quantitative approach, system approach, contingency approach, and the operational approach. Let's start with the classical theory. First we'll start with the Taylor, that is the scientific theory. Scientific management means knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and the cheapest way. It implies a complete change in the method and technique of work. So, Taylor developed this theory on the basis of his work experience in three companies. He is regarded as the father of scientific management. He focused on finding the best way to do a job by eliminating wastages of men and material. He developed time and motion studies to find optimum time and nature of operations for successful completion of tasks. He also introduced differential wage rate system to pay more to productive workers. The principles of Taylor or the scientific management theory is, first one is the rule of thumb should be replaced with science, means discard rule of thumb, advocate scientific approach. The steps involved is like investigation of traditional methods, unifying the best practices, developing a standard method, selecting one best method, saving time, efforts, money, resources, etc. Second, there should be harmony, not discord in group actions, means there should be complete harmony between the management and the workers. Complete mental revolution on the part of the management and the workers, means management and the workers should transform their thinking. Management shares gain of the company with workers, and workers should work hard to improve businesses. Next is cooperation, not individualization, means cooperation between the management and the workers. Competition should be replaced by cooperation. There should be constructive suggestions made by the employees, should not be ignored, and they should be rewarded. Then there should be equal division of work and responsibilities between the workers and the management. The next one is maximum output, not restrictive output, means the more production brings in the more profits. Both the parties will get sufficient part of the profits. So, and the last one is development of workers to their fullest capacity, means each person should be scientifically selected. Work assigned should be suit his or her physical, mental and intellectual capabilities. The training should be provided to the employees if needed, and learn best methods and ensure efficiency for workers and organization. There are basically 7 techniques of scientific management given by Taylor. It says time study, motion study, scientific tasks planning, standardization and simplification of the work, differential piece of rate system, functional foremanship, high speed steel. Evolution of Taylor's theory. It says best management theory through scientific methods, discovered true capacity of workers, scientific selection of workers, mental revolution on the part of the employers and employees. In addition to Taylor's, several other persons also contributed to the scientific management theory. But this theory also has its limitations like unrealistic assumptions, mechanic approach, exploitation of laborers, impracticable and narrow views. Let's come to the administrative theory, which is given by Fayol. Fayol focused on managing the organization as a whole rather than the lower levels of the organization only, as Taylor focused only on the lower level, but Fayol administrative theory focused on all the levels. So his theory revolved around the activities of a business, that is technical, commercial, financial, security, accounting and managerial, and the functions of a manager were the planning, organizing, commanding, controlling, directing, etc. And the ability of the managers were physical, mental activity, moral activity, general education, special knowledge and experiences. And he also gave few principles of management. They are the 14 general principles of management. To start with, it says the first one is the division of work, authority and responsibility, unity of command means receiving command from one, unity of direction, discipline, subordination of individual interest to the general interest, remuneration, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative, spirit de corps. Let's come to the evolution of Fayol's theory. It says his principles are widely accepted in business and non-business world. He pioneered in highlighting the principles of management, but there were some criticisms also. He was also criticized for being too formal or vague, inconsistency, pro-management bias, historical values. These are the difference between the Taylor and Fayol, which says on the basis of aim, Taylor aimed at production at the lower level, whereas Fayol aimed at overall production of the organization. Taylor's focus was on improving the workers' output through the work simplification and standardization, whereas Fayol was improving overall administrative through the general principles. The management views of Taylor says from bottom to top, whereas Fayol says from top to bottom. The results of the Taylor said scientific observation and measurements was used, and by Fayol universal truth development from personal experiences. The personality of Taylor, he was a scientist, whereas the Fayol was a practitioner. And the major contribution made by Taylor is the science of industrial management, whereas Fayol has given a systematic theory of management. The perspective of Taylor was narrow, whereas the perspective of Fayol was wider. The aspects studied by Taylor is micro aspects, whereas Fayol went for the macro aspect. Let's come to the third part, that is the bureaucratic management. It was given by Max Weber, and his study was done from 1864 to 1920, and the rules and regulations to eliminate managerial inconsistencies. Authority is the power to hold people accountable for their actions. Positions in the firm should be held based on performances, not social contacts. Position duties are clearly identified. People should know what is expected of them, and the line of authority should be clearly identified. Workers know who reports to whom. Max Weber's bureaucracy theory is, he was a German sociologist, and the characteristics of his models were division of work, rules and regulations, hierarchy of authority, technical competency, record keeping and impersonal relations. The evolution of Weber's theory says advantages of specialization, rationality leads to efficiency, leads to optimal utilization of resources, depersonalization leads to equal treatment of all the workers, facilitates growth of large scale organization. Weber's theory also, that is the bureaucratic theory, also has few limitations like ignore the sentiments of human beings. Next, hampers the human creativity and innovativeness, ignores the role of informal organization. Next, there were strict rules, make the organization procedure oriented rather than goal oriented. Then the written rules and regulations deny the benefits of open communication, and they views organizations as closed system with little or no interaction with the environment. Thank you so much. This is all in this module.